Good morning. I am Dr.S.Thaiyalnayaki, Assistant Professor of Computer Science, A.D.M.College for Women, Autonomous, Nagapattinam. Now we see about the database systems. A database management system, DBMS, is basically a collection of programs that enables users to store, modify and extract information from a database as per the requirements. DBMS is an intermediate layer between the programs and the data. Programs access the DBMS, which then access the data. DBMS, it's nothing but a database management system. It's a software system that allows users to define, create and maintain a database and provides controlled access to the data. A database management system refers to the technology for creating and managing databases. DBMS is a software tool to organize, that is to create, to retrieve, to update and to manage data in a database. Main aim of a DBMS is to supply a way to store up and retrieve database information that is both convenient and efficient. Database system must ensure the safety of the information stored despite system crashes or attempt at unauthorized access. For example, university database organizes the data about students, faculty and admin staff, etc., which helps in efficient retrieval, insertion and deletion of data from it. What is the need of DBMS? Database systems are basically developed for large amount of data. When dealing with huge amount of data, there are two things that require optimization. First one is storage of data and second one is retrieval of data. Paradigm shift from file system to DBMS. Why we convert from file system to DBMS? File system manages data using files in hard disk. Users are allowed to create, delete and update the files according to their requirement. Let us consider the example of file-based university management system. Data of students is available to their respective departments, academic section, research section, account section, hostel office, etc. Some of the data is common for all sections like roll number, name, father name, address and phone number of students, but some data is available to a particular section only, like hostel allotment number, which is a part of hostel office. So let us discuss the issues with this system. First of all is redundancy of data. Data is said to be redundant if same data is copied at many places. If a student wants to change mobile number, he has to get it updated at various sections. Similarly, old records must be deleted from all sections representing that student. Next, second one is inconsistency of data. Data is said to be inconsistent if multiple copies of same data does not match with each other. If phone number is different in account section and academic section, it will be inconsistent. Inconsistency may be because of typing errors or not updating all copies of same data. Next, third one is difficult data access. A user should know the exact location of file to access data, so the process is very cumbersome and tedious. If user wants to search student hostel allotment number of a student from 10,000 unsorted students records, how no concurrent access? The access of same data by multiple users at same time is known as concurrency. File system does not allow concurrency as data. It can be accessed by only one user at a time. Next one is no backup and recovery. File system does not incorporate any backup and recovery of data if a file is lost or corrupted. Next, we see the some of the database applications. Applications where we use database management systems are, first one is telecom. There is a database to keep tracks of information regarding calls made, network usage, customer details, etc. Without the database systems, it is hard to maintain that huge amount of data that keeps updating every millisecond. Next one is industry, where it is a manufacturing unit, warehouse or distribution center. Each one needs a database to keep the records of its and in and outs. For example, distribution center should keep a track of the product units that supplied into the center as well as the products that got delivered out from the distribution center on each day. This is where DBMS comes into picture. Next one is banking system. In banking system, for storing customer information, tracking day-to-day credit and debit transactions, generating bank statements, etc. All this work has been done with the help of database management systems. Next one is sales. To store customer information, production information and invoice details stored in database applications. Next, airlines. To travel through airlines, we make yearly reservations. This reservation information along with flight schedule is stored in the DBMS in database. Next one is education sector. Database systems are frequently used in schools and colleges to store and retrieve the data regarding student details, staff details, course details, exam details, payroll data, attendance details, fees details, etc. There is a lot amount of interrelated data that needs to be stored and retrieved in an efficient manner. Next example is online shopping. You must be aware of the online shopping websites such as Amazon, Flipkart, etc. These sites store the product information, your address and preferences, credit details, and provide you the relevant list of products based on your query. All these involves a database management system. Next, we see about the database languages. Database languages are used to read, update, and store data in a database. Database languages provide the tools to implement and manipulate a database. Once data is stored or filled, it requires manipulation like insertion, deletion, updating, and modification of data. For these operations, a set of languages are provided by the DBMS. There are several such languages can be used for this purpose. One of them is SQL, that is Structured Query Language. What is meant by SQL? SQL is a database language designed for the retrieval and management of data in a relational database. SQL is a standard language for database management. All the RDBMS systems like MySQL, MS Access, Oracle, Sybase, Postgres, and SQL Server use SQL as their standard database language. SQL programming language uses various commands for different operations. The SQL structured query language commands are needed to interact with database systems. These SQL commands can be used to build tables, insert data into tables, remove or drop tables, change tables, and set permissions for users. We can categorize the SQL commands as DDL, DCL, and DML. The different types of DBMS languages are as follows. First one is DDL, Data Definition Language. In this we have create, drop, truncate, rename, alter, comment. These are all the few data definition languages. Next one is DML, Data Manipulation Language. Select, insert, delete, update. These are all the some of the operations used in DML. Next one is DCL, Data Control Language. In this revoke and grant. And then last one is TCL, Transaction Control Language. It have rollback and commit. These are all the diagram for database language. First we see about the DDL, Data Definition Language. DDL is a language used to define data structures and modify data. For example, in DDL commands, we can use to add, remove or modify tables within a database. DDLs used in database applications are considered a subset of SQL, that is the structured query language. All of these commands either defines or update the database schema. That's why they come under the data definition language. Main purpose of DDL commands are mainly used to create new database, users, constraints, tables, etc. Some of the examples of DDL commands, these are all the queries and then explanation. First one is create. Create is used to create the database or its objects like table, index, function, view, store procedure and triggers. And second one is drop. Drop is used to delete objects from the database. Next, third one is alter. It used to alter the structure of the database. And fourth one is truncate. It used to remove all records from a table, including all spaces allocated for the records are removed. Next, fifth one is command. It used to add commands to the data dictionary. And sixth one is rename. It used to rename an object existing in the database. And next we see about the DML, Data Manipulation Language. It is used to manipulate data itself. It offers a set of operations to support the fundamental data manipulation operations on the data held in the database. And this includes most of the SQL statements, that is to store, modify, retrieve, delete and update data in a database. Here we see some of the examples of DML commands. First one is select. It is used to retrieve data from a database. And second one is insert. It used to insert data into a table. And third one is update. It used to update existing data within a table. And fourth one is delete. It used to delete all records from a database table. And fifth one is merge. It used to upset operations, that is insert or update. And third one is data control language, that is DCL. It used to control privilege in databases. To perform any operation in the database, such as for creating tables, sequence or views, we need privileges. Grant privilege to a user using the grant statement. In the same way, revoke the privilege using the revoke statement. Here the example for DCL commands. First one is grant. It used to give user access privileges to a database. And second one is revoke. It used to back permission from the user. And then last one is TCL, transaction control language. The TCL commands deals with the transaction within the database. It used to execute the changes made by the data manipulation language statements. Some of the examples of TCL commands are, first one is commit. It used to commit a transaction. Second one is rollback. It used to roll back a transaction in case of any error occurs in the table. And third one is save point. It sets a save point within a transaction. And last one is set transaction. It used to specify characteristics for the transaction. Difference between the DDL and DML. Here we see the difference. Database language provide the tools to implement and manipulate a database. First one is DDL. It's a data definition language used to define the structure like schema, database, tables, constraints, etc. Examples of DDL are create and alter statements. Next one is DML. It's a data manipulation language used to manipulate data. Examples of DML are insert, update, delete statements. Database language is comprised of mostly frequently used two languages, that is the DDL and DML. So here we see the difference between the DDL and DML. First one is DDL, data definition language, and another one is DML, data manipulation language. DDL stands for data definition language, DML stands for data manipulation language. DDL used to create database schema and used to define some constraints as well. DML used to add, retrieve or update the data. DDL basically defines the column, that is attributes of the table. DML, it used to add or update the row of the table. These rows are called tuples. DDL, it does not have any further classification. In DML, it is further classified into procedural or non-procedural DML. In DDL, basic commands present are create, drop, rename, alter, etc. In DML, basic commands present are update, insert, merge, etc. In DDL, it does not use where clause in its statement. In DML, while DML uses where clause in its statement. These are all the basic difference between the DDL and DML. Thank you, one and all.